APTN. So we weren't actually, we were prepared, but normally I would have months and months and months to prep a show. And so I didn't have the proper time to actually sit with Clinton or anybody else at the track to say, okay, let's have a little clinic with my crew and make sure that we're hitting all our marks and making sure that we're not getting anyone into trouble here. We have, thankfully for season 2, if I have new crew, I actually have time this time to run them through the safety clinic and all of that kind of stuff. But for the most part, we didn't really experience too many superstitions. So I'd be curious to know what they are, because I think they'd be kind of fun to explore in season 2.
Laura, for you guys coming in, you've done a great job for being outsiders coming into the sport. And Adam, you know how it is. We're very dedicated, and you say the wrong thing, and you guys have done a great job putting this together. Season 2, well, first off, let's go Friday. What's the Coles Notes version of time, place, and how many episodes are coming up?
Okay, Coles Notes version. Let me get my cheat sheet out here. I got to be totally honest. I'm cheating. So May 7th, series premiere. Episode 1 airs at APTN, 8 p.m. on APTN, and airs at 8:30 as well. The next episode. So you can get a whole hour of the show on Friday, starting at 8 p.m. I think in whatever time zone you're in. Then it'll air regularly on APTN Fridays at 8 p.m. and Saturdays at 12 p.m. So you can catch it twice on Saturdays, which is really great. I don't have the repeat schedule yet, but you can also watch it on Lumi, which is APTN's digital platform. That's $4.99 a month. You can get a free trial. So if you sign up for your free trial now, you don't get to watch it on APTN. Get your free trial on APTN Lumi. Check out the first episode, and then you can decide if you want to spend the $4.99 a month to watch the rest of our show. And then if you want to check out our website, unfortunately, because of Lumi and contractual obligations, we're not able to show the full episodes on our website, but you can see amazing digital shorts. We've done some other stuff on other racers and some inspiring stories there. So you can go to our website at FridayNightThunderTV.com. And you can check out all those other special features that we have and some behind the scenes sort of stuff. And on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, go to at FN Thunder, FNThunderTV.com, just FN Thunder TV. So that's where you can see all of our social media platforms, FridayNightThunderTV.com for our website. And then of course, APTN Lumi and APTN cable. So I hope everyone gets a chance to check it out. But visit our social media regularly, and we'll keep you up to date on all the broadcast times.
I think it's going to do such amazing things for the sport, for racing. Like I said, I haven't watched all of the episodes, but I got a good sneak peek. And thank you so much for what you did.
Oh, thank you. I can't say enough good things about this community. I've done a lot of TV in the past. I've done drama. I've done, animation, comedy, variety series. And I have to say, I didn't know what I was expecting. I knew that Glenn Stiers was this awesome guy that I'd met, a few times, and I'd been to the track a couple of times. And my good friend Derek Miller was racing several years ago, and that was my first foray to the track. But this was different, feeling part of this family, feeling part of this community, feeling part of this sport, and seeing the people involved and the togetherness. I mean, it really is a very, very special thing. And that was what I really wanted to harness in the first season. And I think in the second season, we want to explore that further. We want to show people how supportive this environment is, how exciting this environment is, what it brings to kids, how it can inspire somebody to get out of their comfort zone. It's really an amazing place to be. And I hope this show encourages more participation in the sport, more support for the sport, and more inclusion in the sport, because I think that it could be a really great adventure, a really great experience and a growing
Yeah.
thing, and just to be out there and feel it, it's an amazing thing. So I hope people can come out and actually enjoy it once they see the show.
And Clint, I know it's your turn, but I want to jump in and add one more thing that I and I'm sure you did feel this. We've talked about it a little bit more recently than in previous weeks, but you got to come in onto Six Nations Reserve and film something that's focused on Indigenous people. My favorite part about the racetrack on a Friday night when you start thinking politics is you don't see it. You don't know who's Indigenous, who's Native. We might, as you announce where people are from, but there is absolutely no differentiating among the racing family who's from where. Someone's either your ally that night or they're not. If someone needs help, everyone's going to jump in and help. I hope that comes through. I didn't really watch the programs like with that kind of lens to see how it felt, but I hope you felt how strong the racing family is as a unit.
I did 100%. I think it's almost like a whole platform for reconciliation. I think it's an amazing example of people working together, communities working together. Ohsweken Speedway is like this anomaly. It's this place that Glenn created that really does bridge cultures and bring people together. And I think the racing community is so loyal to racing that they'll come together no matter what, no matter what's happening politically, there's friendship there. There's brotherhood and sisterhood and family and all of these other beautiful things. So I think a lot of people can learn from that. And it's such a beautiful example of what our relations can actually look like, if our intentions and our heart is in the right place.
Well said, Laura. I know what you're doing and what we're doing at Ohsweken is bringing cultures together. I know a lot of non-Indigenous folks are going to reach out to APTN this weekend and search out the racing, and that's exciting. And I know Ohsweken and has done a great job. And Adam and I are two non-native guys who've been with Glenn for 25 years now, and we've seen the benefits of bringing all these folks and squashing some of the preconceptions people have about what goes on in Six Nations and how beautiful it is. Laura, we have to move on. I appreciate you coming on, as does Adam. We're excited to watch this program because I know one thing, Adam has been a big push to for this type of programming around racing, and you've made some of our thoughts and dreams come true. So it's exciting. We'll leave it at that. We'll follow up with you in a week or two and see what the feedback's been. But thanks so much. We look forward to it. 8 p.m. coast to coast this Friday night.
Miigwech to Adam, miigwech to Clinton, miigwech to the whole racing community in Ontario. Thank you so much. And thanks to Ohsweken Speedway and Glenn. Have a great night, guys.
Thanks,
Laura.
When I talked to Laura earlier today, she goes, I can't do that. I think she did pretty good. I said, she did do it. She said, is it a Zoom meeting or a broadcast? I said, well, it's a Zoom meeting that we broadcast.
Little of this, little of that. I almost feel bad. I almost feel bad for speaking politically a couple of times in the last few weeks, Clinton, but I'm really proud of and she said it perfectly, of what Glenn has done and what Glenn has brought in there. And like you say, he welcomed us in more than 20 years ago, and there was never any conversation. The only conversation is over the years, over that entire span of time, we're a racetrack. We're here to do what we do. We're not here to talk politics, act politics. Just come on out and have a good time.
Yeah, we all love each other when we're going in circles, right? But, it's funny. I had a talk with, I don't know who I was talking to. There was Kevin Lovey's the other day. And I said, you probably heard me say this a few times over 20 years. But like racing is that one sport where you take a 14-year-old and make him race a 7-year-old, and he, a doctor races a high school dropout, and then someone who can't even put macaroni on their table is racing a billionaire, and we put them all in the same feature and they play together. No other sport do you do that, where you mix gender, race, culture, wealth, education all in one spot and try and bring it together. But just quickly to finish up the Friday Night Thunder deal, check it out. If you get satellite or cable anywhere here in Canada, it should be on your selection of channels. Check it out. Let us know what you think. I got to tell you, Adam, I went in there as the manager, knowing the insides and thinking, what is this going to look like? I came out super impressed. And if you can get it over an old crusty guy like me who thinks we've seen it all, it is great. The emotion comes out. seeing some of the strongest guys break down in tears as they talk about their emotions of it. It's amazing. So we're excited to bring it out. Let's move on to our next exciting part. And this is a part of our world that I kind of got into last year, along with you, Adam, more deeper into the pavement side. You grew up on the blacktop side. The AP series sucked us right in big time with G-Force, and we fell in love with the product they put out there, the class of cars, and the teams that come to race there. So we're going to work on getting the Dyson boys on now to talk to us about the APC series, super stocks, and all the other great stuff going on here on the Ontario blacktop scene.
Yeah. Welcome. I can see Jamie up on the screen there, so we'll welcome Jamie onto the show. And what I always loved about Jamie and Ryan Dyson is, Clinton, they're like us. They just love the sport. They want to be around it. And then all of a sudden, Ryan turns out to be a race car driver running the super stock. So, Jamie, what are you guys first? Are you racers? Are you race officials? Are you race fans? What categories do you plop yourself in, or all of the above?
I think all of the above. I mean, we started out as diehard race fans at Delaware as we were kids. I mean, it's actually a pretty crazy story. Our parents had their first date at Delaware Speedway, and I guess we took the love from there. From there, every Friday night we were out at Delaware with either our dad or our uncle or whoever in the family that we could convince to take us out there. It didn't matter what was running. So up until since the start of the APC series, a couple years before that, actually, we got into working at Delaware. John Houghton from Delaware Speedway actually got Ryan in there working a little bit, and then it kind of progressed, and they needed some help. So I jumped in there, helped them out a little bit, and then turned out that Luke approached John Houghton, actually needed some help with the APC series. John didn't have quite the time, so we jumped in with the series, getting in there, getting more and more involved, and yeah, so we've been with the series since the start of it. And then a couple years ago, 3 years ago now, we decided to have a crazy idea to build a bone stock. I don't know what we were thinking there, but now all of a sudden, bone stock, truck, super stock, here we are.
Let's talk about how the APC series has really taken off, Jamie. This series has blossomed into such a good thing here in Ontario. Car counts are up through the roof. Now we got coverage live on G-Force. It's helped pick things up a little bit. I think there's been so much other great stuff that has come because of the APC series. And when you look at where we stand now, we've got a bit of a starter last year that we got through. Now we got to figure out how to get through this year. And I think then we can continue the momentum that we need to keep moving it forward.
Yeah, for sure. Going into pre-COVID, so last January, February, the APC series had a ton of momentum. We were just in top gear, ready to go full force, and then we were bringing you guys on to do the full broadcasts and everything like that, ready to go. And then COVID kind of took us down a little bit, but I think with the product we were able to get together last year, working with you guys at G-Force, put on a spectacular program live for the fans that can't make it. It's just a tremendous product. Ranked, was it first or second? I can't remember. It was first or second for top pro late model count among all late model series in North America. Speed 51 did that report. I mean, that's just top notch. You're not going to find another series with the car count that the APC series has. So fans want to see cars. We got the sponsorships to back it. And then you guys coming on to do the live broadcast just brings us up another notch.
When it all works together, it all complements itself and each other. Ryan Dyson, welcome to the show, man.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on tonight.
So we were just talking about, we're just talking to Jamie, about what comes first, being a race fan, being a race official, or being a racer, or does one have to come before the other? You really threw a monkey into the wrench by going racing and by doing very well. So where do your priorities lie looking forward?
I don't necessarily think anybody has to choose as long as you're involved in the sport. And I think everyone has the common goal of growing racing and growing racing in Ontario. So I don't necessarily think anyone has to wear one certain hat. We're very fortunate to be involved in the world of motorsports in Ontario in several different ways that Jamie was talking about. And I'm very privileged to do that, and I'm very honored to have the all the situations that we found ourselves in over the last handful of years, and I think we're going to continue to run with it. So I don't necessarily think putting one specific hat on would be fair.
Not a lot of racers go from the officials tower to the driver's seat. It seems to happen the other way around, where a lot of former racers become officials or tech people. How does it change the way you approach a race when you've spent so many years in the tower trying to get all the animals in the zoo to behave? Now you're one of the animals in the zoo. Does it affect your mindset when you're racing?
No, I'm not sure I've ever had that moment where I've thought that during a race or anything. I mean, you certainly, I guess, get a little more appreciation for, if the race is going on a little longer, there's cautions or people won't get single file under the yellow or anything like that. I guess maybe you appreciate the officials' frustration sometimes a little bit, but I think you got to put a switch in your head. When you're driving the car, you're a race car driver, and when you're not driving the car, you're a fan or something like that. But no, I can't say I've ever had a situation where I've been in the car and I've thought about what the officials are thinking or anything, to be honest. It's just you put that switch in your head and you change mode and you do the best you can on the track.
Let's talk about the super stocks, big news and kind of consolidation in the last little while, right? They've all come together. It's got a lot of direction now, being partnered up with the APC series and being brought along on that. That means they're going to be featured on G-Force too. So there's a lot of positives going forward. And then Quick steps up, and Frank, he's an excited race fan type guy, and he wants to do everything he can. So for Quick to get behind it, I mean, maybe Jamie, this is a one for you to touch upon from the media side. How important or how cool is it to have a guy like Frank jump on board and Luke get behind the super stocks and really bring it in as kind of the official support series of the APC series, if we can say that unofficially?
Yeah, I mean, as we were talking about before, I think this is just the next step into making the United Racing Series as a whole even more top-notch than it already is. We have the APC Series, which is second to none, and now we're just going to make it a whole event by bringing in the super stocks. And then Frank and Quick stepping up. I think that's going to be a big thing for the series, to have a company behind it, a sponsor behind it that is going to help support that series. I don't have information yet on what payouts or anything like that's going to look like yet, but I think just having a company like that, and we've all seen Frank and Quick around the province, just backing so many racers and helping support a passion of his. He loves racing and just as much as us and just as much as the next racer. So I think seeing Quick jumping on there and getting the super stocks some support is a benefit for the series, and a benefit for the United Racing Series as a whole. It's a benefit for the APC series. We saw he sponsored the championship race last season. So yeah, it's a great benefit. And like I said, it's just bringing the whole United Racing Series as a whole up the ladder and up the ladder of professional racing series that you see across the country and across North America, even the world. It's right up there with any of them. And then, just getting the super stocks in line and getting a united rules package across the province, I think, is a benefit. That's something we've seen on dirt for a few years, and we've seen the car counts in those divisions rise like crazy. And we saw what it did to the late model series, getting the car count through the roof. So I think getting a super stock package united throughout the province is just something that's going to benefit everybody, because we know we have one car that can race at any track at any given night, or it can race in the touring series. It's just a benefit for everybody.
So Ryan, looking into 2021, and when did you buy your super stock?
I think it was probably May or June of last year. Right around the time
right
around the time when it was looking like we weren't going to get racing at all. I got a great opportunity to purchase the car we bought, and everything just kind of aligned. The stars aligned for us, and we managed to part out the truck and sell the truck, and one thing led to another. And actually, when we purchased the car, the 3-race mini series hadn't even been announced. It was something that we were just going to keep both, and get our feet wet with some practice in the super stock and hope that Delaware would race the truck. And then all of a sudden, 3-race mini series for the United Racing Series was announced. So we unloaded the truck and decided to give her a shot with the super stock, and things ended up going pretty well for us. So yeah, I think it was around May or June of last year that we ended up purchasing that.
Right. And the reason I ask is, what amazing foresight. I mean, how excited. Now, are you excited that it's a traveling series with premier events, or were you thinking, boy, this would be great fun to run on a Friday night at home?
Both. Our plan for this year is to run, assuming things go back to normal. I think it was last week you were saying, Adam, about your announcing schedule. You were planning on going as if nothing was changing. That's the way we're approaching it. The car is 100% ready to go, just minus the setup. So we saw the postponement of the first race at sunset, but our plan was to get everything ready as if we were going racing the long weekend in May. But our plan is to run the 5 races with the APC, the Quick United Superstock Series. And our plan is also to run full-time Friday nights at Delaware. When we purchased the car, our plan was, like I said, just to get our feet wet. And then all of a sudden it was, okay, we're going on tour. And that was quite a bit of fun. We had to purchase a lot of things, and we made the investments with gears and things like that. So seeing this all come together, I'm pretty excited, and I think that our team has come a very, very long way in a very short period of time. And I definitely think that we are up for the challenge, and hopefully we can chase some checker flags this summer.
Jamie, let's talk car counts in both divisions look to be up through the roof again. More and more people getting involved. We see even more names who weren't on the list last year get involved. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Current registrations, we see this every year in the APC series. I saw some comments about it earlier this week that the registrations aren't there yet, but they will be there. We're going to have 40, 50 cars registered for the series, and then maybe even more than that at some events. You never know. But there's just more and more cars in the province. The late models are going to be there. These guys have been there, done that for 5 years now, though. They know once we go racing, they can register. They don't need to get in there in advance. The super stock registrations, I think, have exceeded some of our expectations already. I can't remember the exact number, but there's around 20 cars registered already, which in a pandemic when we don't know exactly when we're going racing is a pretty large number. And I don't even know a number of how many are still out there that haven't registered. I wouldn't be surprised if once we get to our first event, which hopefully is June 5th at Flamborough, we will be seeing over 40 super stocks out there, which would be just amazing. It's amazing when you can put a last chance race on and get all these guys at the track.
A Consi is the best. Clint, how many times have I said it? I don't care what race you go to. A Consi is the most fun event of the weekend for everybody except for those who were in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's certainly the best excitement.
As Jamie Maudsley likes to call it, the APC series announcer, the Hooligan 500.
Yep, there's the Hooligan race, the last chance race, the Consi, the B main. Oh man, what are some other names we've heard it called, Clint? There's a lot of nicknames for that race.
Yeah.
So guys, before we let you go, Jamie, do us a favor. We'll let Ryan pump up your socials and let us know where to find you. But if you don't mind, give us a couple of names of super stock drivers that you've heard have pieces being put together that's going to raise people's eyebrows a little bit and think, man, I'm going to want to watch this.
Well, I don't know who I should and who I shouldn't say. First off, the car you got to watch is the number 28.
Yeah. Well done.
Some of the cars that we've seen register already that I think have raised some eyebrows. Jason Parker, coming from the APC series to a super stock. Sean Chenoweth, he's building another super stock, which we've seen what he can do in that division. There's a couple other guys out there. I don't know what I'm allowed and what I'm not allowed to say, but another one too, John Monahan, former Delaware guy. I think that kind of raised some people's eyebrows when people saw him register. So there's definitely some eyebrow-raising names out there, and I think there's more to come. I know of a couple offhand, but I don't know what I am not allowed to say.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Very respectable of you.
Jamie, if I can jump in here, what is the rule with a guy like Chenoweth? Is he able to register and run both races on the same day?
As far as I know, I believe he can. I don't want to say yes or no for sure because I don't know. I don't think we've actually brought that up in the rules yet, but I don't see why not. But we'll have to wait for confirmation on that one.
You don't even want to watch Clinton and I have that fight. We had that fight in private a couple of months ago and said we may not be able to put it on the show because it gets people pretty wound up on the dirt side because we compare crate sprints to 360 sprints. The crate sprint is considered the stepping stone. My opinion, a super stock is not a stepping stone. It's a division for someone who has chosen not to spend quite as much money as you would on a late model.
Wait a minute. Time out, guys. Time out. How in the hell is a super stock not a stepping stone to a late model? They're freaking identical practically. Okay, we're gonna have this fight.
You don't have to
Adam
because you don't have to get into a super stock to run a late model. See, this is why you
don't have to get into a crate to race a 360 either, you dumbass.
Yeah, but there's all sorts of people. Oh, you can't run both. Don't let them run both. Let them run everything. Run a mini stock and then run a sprint car.
To break down our argument a bit more,
this is like the debate in NASCAR, the Xfinity versus Cup.
It is. It's similar though.
They're both.
Yeah.
Traditionally on dirt, you're only ever allowed to run one division unless it was a special tour coming in and you participate in that tour, and then you might get a pass to run two cars on one night. But we have a lot of young racers, like the super stock to the APC series. Our crates to our 360s is the same deal. You got a lot of young kids who have crates that want to test the waters of the 360, but then do you want your 360 veterans going back and whipping up? Like imagine if Joe Lawrence, Pete Shepard, and Brandon Watson all decided to buy super stocks and come back. Is that fair to most of the super stock guys? You know, they've got more knowledge, more budget, all those things. So it's the same debate.
Let's make them a special trophy. They should get a trophy just for showing up. I'm there to beat everybody. If you're part of everybody, so be it. I want to beat you. So for people, you tell me, is it a bigger deal for John Hunter Nemechek when he beats Kyle Busch than if Kyle Busch isn't in the race and John Hunter Nemechek wins? No, it is a big deal to beat the best. So when you make rules that don't allow the best to come and race, I don't know, it seems... The only time I liked it was with Sportsman at Syracuse when there was like 80 cars, but even then, let them all race.
We'll have this fight.
I think John Hunter likes it a little bit too because Kyle signs his paychecks.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, before we let you go, Ryan, let everyone know where they can find you on social media, and we got to get that out of the way so you can do some self-promotion because you've got a shuffling of sponsors for 2021.
Yeah, a lot of our partners are returning for this year. We have a new primary partner this year. Douglas Window and Door Inc. Has stepped up massive for us, and they're a large part of our team now, and one of the main reasons that we're able to run on the tour this year. I know that they were absolutely thrilled last year with the product, the broadcast and everything, and they felt that was a great product for them to be able to display their brand and everything. And I mean, it helps when we're able to run up front. One of the races at Jukasa, they were pretty happy with that. So Douglas Window and Door Inc. is a big major partner of ours this year. Of course, we have APC Auto Parts Centers back on the car. A little bit of a reshuffling there. We're putting APC down the side of the car. Docksayer Property Maintenance is a new sponsor for us this year. Front to Back Motors is another new partner for us. Epic Racewear has been with us since the start. Elgin Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is another new partner of ours for this year. Blackfly Beverage Co. is returning. Puckstoppers Goaltending is returning. Our Expression, Thompson Photography, Dave Franks, Canoes Automotive Warehousing. So we got a long list of partners, and I'm very thankful for each and every one of them. Jamie and I have started a new YouTube series, a vlog series. We're showing, lots of the ins and outs of our race team and behind the scenes and stuff. And hopefully we can show some of the at track stuff soon. But we're doing lots of fill content and stuff right now. We're moving into our new race shop. My fiance and I purchased a house, and the house conveniently had a nice big brand new race shop. So we're in the midst of a move there, and we've been posting lots of content about that stuff on our new YouTube channel. Look us up, JRD Motorsports on YouTube. We've also just added an Instagram account, JRD Motorsports. And then, of course, we're on Facebook and Twitter. And people can find us at jrdmotorsports.ca. And they can find all of our sponsors, up-to-date information, all of our social media outlets, lots of great pictures, and our schedule and everything all on there. So, yeah, hopefully we can have a great year this summer. And like Jamie said, hopefully in June we can get racing once things look like they can open back up, and we can get the Douglas Window and Door Inc. APC Auto Parts Centers number 28 one spot higher than we finished our year off in 2020 at Jacasa.
Right on, boys. We appreciate all your help from the G4 side, getting us up to speed last year and making our job easier. We look forward to working alongside you again in the years to come. Thanks, Jamie, Ryan, Dyson. Good luck this year, and we'll see you guys at the track real soon.
Thanks for having us on, guys.
So, Adam, apparently I'm getting my ass kicked in the comments about
See, the
super stocks are
thing
way
is,
different. I get it, but what I'm saying is same type of car, same track, same drivers. Come on, man.
I think, and there's so many things at play. It's not just that you're wrong with this, Clinton. It's that you're wrong so often. No, I'm joking. There's a lot of different topics. I don't care how different the cars are. Personally, the reason that promoters wouldn't allow people to run multiple divisions was not to be fair to the lower divisions. It was because normally drivers only paid once to get in, and promoters didn't want to pay them twice to perform.
I definitely want to continue this argument, but our next guest actually pulled off the interstate to pull over and talk
Yeah,
to us. So we'll bring him in now. We'll welcome Sam Haferteep Jr. to the show. We have a bit of connection with Sam through Oshweekend. He's been there many times, won many races there. And, of course, his connection to Hills Racing, Daryl Turford, and a lot of the other guys we know. I reached out to Daryl today and said, hey, can we get Sam on? He said, yes. Sam, can you hear us? And welcome to the program.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be on.
Where are you at
Sam,
today?
We're up in Gibsonburg, Ohio. We're just getting a little work done at Bieber's chassis today.
You've had quite a few weeks, Sam. I don't know, do we want to talk about All-Star Circuit of Champions and winning races there, or the high speeds at Bristol where you were pretty damn good as well? Where do you want to start, and how exciting is it to get your season off to such a great start?
We could start at Bristol. It's pretty neat just to have the experience to go there. Pretty fortunate to be able to participate in such a neat place like that. Definitely was a cool deal for us, for sure, to have the kind of speed that we had out of the box, and to actually break the track record was also pretty neat as well.
Sam, let's talk about, we'll get to your All-Star win on the weekend, but, there was a lot of speculation on the internet and social media, what you guys were doing with your tour, that you'd fallen off the Outlaw Tour, but your schedule, if I understand correctly, was posted a while ago. This was part of the plan all along. Maybe for the ones who don't know, explain your schedule and the logic of, how you picked your races this year.
Well, we didn't really want to tie down to any one series. I thought that would be stupid on our part, since we are trying to get in this 410 deal, and the biggest thing is to run as many races as possible. We want to run with the Outlaws as much as we can too, but at the same rate, if we can run a bunch of races, we can actually learn a lot more about our car and get better in the 410, and which is proved pretty true. I think we run about I don't know, probably more than anybody has this year in 410. So with that, we've actually found some speed, and hopefully that schedule, stays the way we have it now. And later this year, we actually see a lot more speed out of us towards the end of the year.
Sam, I want to kind of go way off topic here, and it might not even matter, but I watched the race on Sunday night from Tri-City, and I was surprised to see Matt Farnham, who's a driver from Western New York, who we see come across. We watch him run modifieds, 360 sprint cars, crate sprint cars. Do you often have moments? Now, you had a great night. You won, you took home the money. But in the heat race, do you ever wonder who the hell is that just went by me? I mean, he gave you a real good run in the heat.
Yeah, I mean, we run into guys all the time. I know who he is. Miles helps him out a little bit on his modified car, and Todd Hoddick is a very good friend of Miles and us as well. So definitely familiar with our surroundings for sure. We definitely heard of him, and he's definitely a up and comer in sprint cars for sure.
Sam, go ahead, Adam.
I was just, a sprint car is so fast and it's so volatile. Do you ever hesitate when you haven't run a lot of laps with somebody and they do happen to be quick? Is there a moment where you think, all right, maybe I don't push the issue right now, or are you just always balls to the wall?
No, like in that situation in the heat race, I think we had a couple opportunities to get by them, but knowing how their system works, knowing that we would be locked in the dash, you just don't make any stupid mistakes, especially if you're unfamiliar with a guy like him, not racing with him very much.
Sam, you've been very dominant in the 360s the last 5 years out on the national tour, 5 championships. Let's talk about the jump to 410s. What's been the hardest part? You've dabbled in the past, but to make that full commitment to leave your success behind and try something that is a lot more tough. Talk about what's been the toughest transition.
I would think it starts almost everywhere, just when you're dominant doing something and you take on something else, you stay locked into what you have been doing for so long that it really takes you a long time to get past some of those things that you have been doing. A lot of that stuff doesn't work in the 410s. Setup of the car is way different. Obviously the speed's a little different as well. And then driving the race car, when you're in a dominant race car night in and night out, you can run 80% a lot of nights, with the Outlaws and guys like that. You've got to be 100% every time you hit the racetrack. And I think, since our car isn't where we want it to be, that's probably the biggest change, when you get used to winning so much and dominating so much that, you can drive a smart race and do things like that. It changes the way you approach any race night. So, I think mainly just the stuff on the race car with the tires being a lot different, the way these cars handle versus a 360, being that the tires are as different as they are. I mean, it definitely changes your driving style. There's a lot of things that happen. So, if we were just to also ran in the 360s and moved up to 410s with, no prior knowledge, I think we'd approach it, way differently than we are now, knowing that we had a lot of homework to do and we don't want to settle for not winning. So it's been definitely a challenge, but I'm glad to get a win as fast as we did. And hopefully we can keep building on that and continue to get better.
What is the long-term goal, Sam? I don't know if you and Miles have talked about it or if you have your own plan for the next few years, but is it to run with the Outlaws, or is it just to remain a true outlaw and pick and choose the races you run anywhere?
We'll remain a true outlaw until we get to the point where, we're satisfied with our speed and we know that we can go in and compete night in and night out, and not just be top 10. You've got to have a chance to be in that battle. You've got to be a top 5 car every night. And, with guys like Brad Sweet, as fast as he is right now, that's a tall task to tame for sure.
Sam, one of the questions come in from Phil Nels, and then I'm going to bring this back, Adam, and I'm going to take him into a conversation I know you want to talk about. Phil Nels, one of our viewers, asks, is there a physical demand difference between the 410 and the 360, Sam?
I kind of explained that earlier. I think it's more, the demand is more based on, how good your race car is. If you got a good handling race car, some nights you don't have to go all out to beat everybody, and then some nights if you still win a race with a car that's 80%, if you keep it 100%, you don't make any mistakes, but if your car's 100, maybe you can go 80 some nights. And a lot of nights in the 360, that's what we had. We had a really good race car, really good package all the time, and a lot of comfortability in myself knowing what I had. In the 410, it's a new challenge, new tires, new situation. And, And I'll admit, we're running a lot harder with the 410 stuff just because we have to. Our car's, not where it needs to be every night. Some nights it's pretty good to start and then we don't finish so good. So, I just see you're running harder consistently throughout the race, and maybe that's what makes it more physically challenging for me.
Sam, we're going to put you on the spot. Our Burger Barn video of the week this week is coming up a little bit later, but we got some other videos that came in this week. For our viewers, we're just going to roll them quick. I don't know if you're going to be able to see them on your end. Spencer, maybe you can let us know if you can see them or not, but roll these two clips. This is the scrap in the pits between Reutzel and Wayne Johnson, and this is apparently coming back from the driver's meeting. This is actually the second part of the video, Spencer, if you got the other one where he throws the bike at him. Sam, I don't want you to pick sides. We don't want you to get involved because we know you know both these guys. So this is where it comes back, and Wayne Johnson kind of takes a poke at him there on the bicycle. Then Aaron throws the bike at him, and then it goes into the other video, and they have a good old outlaw cowboy scrap there right in the pits, which we're picking up from this angle now. Hey, double camera work even, the guys in the pit box. Obviously, you've seen this a bunch, Sam, but, Adam and I talked a lot about, the tour doesn't love that type of stuff, but sometimes it's better to take it out. And Adam, I'll throw it over to you because I set it up. Anything you want to lead into, Sam, because you definitely wanted to have this discussion.
Let's lay it out simply. Sam, is there a time and a place where you should take matter into your hands and not your car and throw fists at the races?
Well, I never think anybody should do it with a race car. I think that's pretty childish. And, we're out here racing for lots of money, and there's lots of owners that put a lot of money on the line. And I think, honestly, Wayne probably would have never approached the situation the way he did, except, I guess, Reitzel, like I said, the night Wayne had crashed and Reitzel ran into him. And then if Reitzel would have never went over and said anything, I don't think anything would have happened out of this. But, Reitzel rubs a lot of guys wrong sometimes. And then I guess, sometimes, guys are done messing with it. And that's, that could be the result. Luckily, for Wayne, they're in a situation where they're at the track and he could get his point across to him.
It was a discussion we had because, obviously I manage Oshwegan Speedway. We can't condone fighting in the pits, but sometimes that's what's needed. And a lot of the other veteran racers have said, sometimes a punch to the mouth makes the guy drive a little bit better and saves everybody else a bunch of trouble down the line too. So didn't want you to pick sides. We know you've banged wheels with both those guys many times over the last few years. So I know you're a lot closer to the situation than we were, but anything else you want to throw back there, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all of us guys, we race each other hard, and at the end of the day, nobody just wants to be plain disrespected. You're going to have your run-ins throughout the year with everybody. It happens. It's racing. A lot of times it's not intentional, and like just unfortunate that it came to that. But that is a product of tempers flaring over a period of time. That's not over just one night. So like I say. Guys get to a point where they feel disrespected, that kind of stuff will happen.
Yeah, and we're going to carry on this conversation a bit more, but that was my point, Sam, is you're putting your life on the line when you go out in a 410 sprint car, a 360 sprint car. And I think tempers flare. It's a passionate sport. And sometimes you do. Like, there's been times when people will make a move on you, and I'm sure you're a little bit frustrated and you think that I don't appreciate that. I'm going to put that in the back of my head and remember it. And I'm sure there's been times when someone has done something to you where you think, holy shit, I could have been hurt. Like that really could have made a mess of me. I think there's times when a physical altercation does put the point across, because if you let someone run over you today, it sets the tone for them to run you over week in and week out, night in and night out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, you just, out there, you got to stand your ground. Like I say, it's all about respect at the end of the day. Everybody runs hard now these days, lots of slide jobs, it's a lot different than it was, 10, 20 years ago, but at the end of the day, if everybody has enough respect for each other and they know how to race each other, what they consider is clean, then, usually most guys have any problems. Like at the professional level and world outlaw racing, top levels of anything, Usually we don't have a lot of fights in sprint cars because of that reason. Everybody usually does have enough respect for everybody else. And usually it might be a discussion here or there about something. But other than that, you usually don't see much more than that.
Well, we want to talk about more positive things, Sam, before we let you go. Where's your next race, and where do you think your next Victory Lane visit's going to come?
Well, we're going to be at Eldora this weekend. Hopefully the weather holds off. The biggest thing, I don't predict where we're going to win next or if we'll win next. Right now, the goal is just to continue to keep improving. Is a 15th place an improvement some nights? Yeah, it is. Do we want to run 15th? No, but if we come out of a night where we run and we have a positive impact on changes we've made and things like that, then that's a good thing for us. And if we keep making strides like that, of course we want to go in Eldora. We want to be quick time. We want to win the heat. We want to win the dash. We want to win the feature. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Obviously this year we've been, we've had some hard nights with the Outlaws. We've had some good nights. So we'll go in there with the same mindset we've had all year. It's not necessarily just a win. It's to make improvements with our program. And if we come out of there knowing more than what we started the night with and feeling good about our program, that's a win to us right now. We're kind of new into this deal. We're starting back over from scratch. And like I say, to get a win like on Sunday, there was huge for our team and shows what our capabilities are, when we start getting things right. So I think it's just a sign of things to come for us. And like I say, hopefully, we can start being, it might be like a normal circumstance for us to be in Victory Lane on the weekends.
Right on, Sam. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you joining us here on Rivalz Race Chat. We'll follow you throughout the season and get you back when you got some time.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Have a good day.
Safe travels, man.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Sam Haferteep, Adam, one of the smart guys out there, got a lot going. I like what he's saying, a lot of cool stuff. Well, it's been a hell of a show. We have some battles to pick up. We're going to have to take some notes. So hopefully Spencer's or you are, or I will have to take some notes. We need to continue this battle. We still have so many cool topics to get through. I don't know how we're going to fly through them. Let's do some rapid fire.
Let's take it piece by yeah.
And then we'll come back to a fight. Okay, let's get some of the other things going off. So First off, shout out to, I'll start at the bottom. Chad Brackman, fresh off last week's show, goes on to win Tyler County on Saturday. So congrats to Chad Brackman. Throw up that picture if you got it, Spencer. And we'll knock that one off. Cool. Always great when these guys can show up on our show and take it to Victory Lane the next week, and we'll claim the good luck charm. So good on you, Chad. Adam, this is one thing I want to talk about, cards and collectibles. So I know you're Cards and Collectibles. One of the guys I know, Big Shoots we'll call him, came across an old man here in Ontario, and this guy has collectible race cards. So this is a max set of 1991. They're only 1991, but I wanted to show you this. He's found a barn full of them. So they are still in the package. Almost looks like a Trivial Pursuit case. I'm going to open it up here, and this is a collectible. So I can get you these for $25 if anybody wants them, because there's a barn full of them. But still in the package, some Silver Leaf high-end collectible cards, and it's a complete set. There's Ernie Irvin, just cut the deck. I mean, it goes back. Everybody who was in 91, there's your Rookie of the Year card.
I was going to say, is that the year that Robbie Moroso was Rookie of the Year? Because I had a bunch of Max trading cards, and that was Robbie Moroso you just held up.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe this was the set you had. But I thought this was neat. And he's got hundreds of them that they found in this barn that they bought. And I said, well, I got to show them on the show. Somebody out there must be looking for a collector set. We'll just cut the deck 2 more times and see what we bring out. There you go. There's Earnhardt holding up one of the babies. From race number 4 was the winner, I guess. And we'll cut it 1 more time and see. There's a old Darrell Waltrip collectible, but these are crisp, brand new. I should probably even be touching them. And this is like the silver pack of like mirrored cards. Anyways,
yeah.
Reach out to me if you're interested. I just thought it was neat that they couldn't believe they come across this whole collection of these cards from 1 year and they didn't know what to do with them. I figured, we'll show them off. Southern Ontario Motor Speedway coming together we'll show those pictures. Blake sent us some pictures this week, said they got all the metal for the steel. Those are the basically the tower they're going to start building there. They're pushing all the dirt back up on the outside of the wall and getting the landscaping done. They've got all the metal in, and they've started to weld the bleachers together. And it's just neat, Adam, to see this track and Southern Ontario Motor Speedway come together. There they are unloading all the seat decking, and just cool. So we told Blake, keep the pictures coming. We'll keep cheering you on from the sidelines, and it's good to see them getting that place back together.
We weren't sure it was ever going to reopen, and now it looks like it may reopen before the rest of the track.
I know, yeah. It's funny, and we were talking about a year ago, like we said, even with all the resources you could possibly have, I don't know if they can get it back together. They've done it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a tall order. Yep.
Let's look at our Burger Barn video of the week. This takes us back to Sprint Car World again. At one of the races down in Jacksonville, they have a contest where Johnny Gibson's gives your best Johnny Gibson call. And this young boy gave it his best call. Adam, this was so good. You and I always love to see the young kids on the microphone. Roll it, Spencer. This is our Burger Barn video of the week.
Jacksonville. From Jacksonville, another hometown competitor. Let's see what he can do. We're going to give him the microphone and tell him to take his best shot.
Jacksonville Speedway, you one of the best. You got the four abreast, often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on earth, the world of outlaws, North Energy Drink, Sprint Car.
There is absolutely no doubt who the winner is here this evening, Reese.
That was great. He was so nervous, and then finally he just kicked it in gear and took off.
I love it. One deep breath and away he go. Man, that was two things were really cool about that. One, what he did. Two, the acknowledgement from the crowd. Because Clint, it may sound stupid, but that's what we do it for. And I don't mean racers like getting out of the car and having the crowd react. That picture that's become one of my favorite racing pictures ever, when Stuart Friesen won the World of Outlaws race at Schweeken, and the whole grandstand standing their arms in the air. It takes me back to the 1980s at the Moody Mile in Syracuse, or big events like that when people would show that emotion and get so excited. That's golden.
I agree. I mean, you look at our major events at Schweeken, right after we do the opening ceremonies, I'm always trying to get the crowd pumped up. Not because we need to get pumped up, because I love to hear that crowd roar when you say, make some noise. And they all make some noise. Like, wow, that is so awesome to hear all those people all at once. And yeah, good to see. Two last topics, Adam. Late models are a tight fit and signs of the times. Which one you want to tackle first?
Do the late models first.
All right. So this was a series of photos that you brought in. You sent this one into the topic bin. What did you want to chat about? So it's a pretty wild standard late model wreck. Gets wedged up there and flipped over. And I think it was the last photo you wanted to talk about the most, right?
It is the last photo. A wild wreck in a late model. These cars are hard to get in and out of. But watching the driver climb out, and there was a photo before that, Spencer, I don't know if you've... But it didn't look like... I'm thinking, why didn't they hook a tow truck to this car and lift the damn thing up for the fella? What? Why is there not something hooked to that car to get it up off the ground? I mean, that's insanity. And it just struck me, like looking in that photo, I couldn't stop staring at it. That had to be the most claustrophobic, frightening moment. I'm not a big fan of anybody unstrapping from a race car when it's upside down.
You're probably not wrong. In most situations, obviously, it's always the back, the spine, the neck that we're worried about. So someone who's violently flipped like that and you flip them back over and snap the neck, that's the problem. So if they can get out, they tend to get them out. But I said to you in our chat today, late models aren't the easiest to get in or get out of. They're dangerous before you even crash them down on themselves. I mean, geez, I would not want to be in a fire in a late model. I can tell you that. We saw Johnny Scarborough have a horrible fire about 10, 15 years ago when all the sides and roof folded down around him and is modified. And thankfully they got him out of there, man. But yeah, the late models just freak me out. It's so tight in there to begin with. And not to be insulting or to be generalizing or stereotyping, but doesn't seem like the late model guys are some of the bigger guys in the pits going through the smallest openings in the pits. Like, and I don't even mean from
You're
a
not
gut
wrong.
wise. I mean, I think of a guy like Dave Stolzenberg who lives here a few blocks from me. The guy's got to be 6'8" and can play linebacker for the Bills, and he's crawling through that window, you know. And it's just yeah.
Although, did you see the shoulders on Wayne Johnson? He threw some stiff jabs.
Just some comments. Alvarez Zenas says, "I declare the guy in the shorts lost the fight," and then the other one was Don Martin says, "Sometimes you have to treat people like a computer and punch the information into them." I thought that was a good one too.
Yeah, there's some witty stuff.
Our final topic, and this was just a couple things. We're seeing more and more signs at the races, Adam, and a couple of them were general, basic information. A couple were the others. So we ended up with 3 signs that came across. So almost Spencer. So this was the first one, Adam, that you sent in from Lewiston, Idaho. And we'll just read it off here. Attention, you're entering a privately owned recreational complex where you will likely encounter loud noises, fast vehicles, flying dirt, and the smell of race fuel. You may also witness patriotism, the American flag, prayer, engaged families, and people having fun. If you're offended or triggered by any of this, please turn around and go home. Thank you. I thought it was cool. EC Motorsport Park.
Love that.
This is just general that we just shared in, reminding what you can and can't do. I thought this was good because we need to get this up at Oshweekend. They're allowing you to bring in kid food and some bottled water in your cooler, but no popper water. The next one was the good one, Spencer. Warning, enter the track at your own risk. And these are some of the other signs you're going to start to see. Tracks assume no responsibility for the spread of infectious diseases. And these are signs that you will start to see at local speedways as we try to get them reopened here. I think in Ontario, I saved that sign because I sent it right off to our sign guy for Rush Weekend and said, get ready to do a design like this. We're going to need some of this stuff up there. So just keep your eyes open. Pay attention to the warning signs at the racetracks. And those were some signs of the times. Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know if we wanted to go back on to fighting or if we should save that for another show. Because we can. What I'd like to go back on is the fact that rules and procedures are written in black and white, Clinton, but life happens in color. And every situation is different. So here's why I'm going to suggest that what happened between Aaron Reitzel and Wayne Johnson should be handled differently than any other fight. I think they all need to be taken at face value. And I think what race organizers and promoters and rules makers need to remember is the goal is always to de-escalate. But there's times Wayne Johnson and Aaron Reitzel had issues, and their issues were not going to be fixed by a race official. They had issues, like Sam said, of respect in race cars that are very, very expensive, between people who race to earn their living and put food on the table, driving in cars, and I know you can be hurt or killed in any kind of race car, but when you strap into a 410 sprint car, you have raised the stakes to an enormous level. When you add all those things up and someone has crossed the line with you, I don't have much problem with the two of them duking it out, making their point, and I bet that changes the tone of their interactions in the future. Maybe not forever. Maybe they'll have a get together later on. But I'm opposed to group fights, crew fighting. I support the rule that says my rule of racing, where how you exit. If you enter someone else's pit area, how you leave that pit area is entirely up to the person who owns the pit. You know what I mean? Like, you've come into my dressing room, you may walk out, but if I want to throw you out, punch you out, that's how it's going to end, because you've come into personal space. There's a lot of code that comes into play when we talk about racing. Connor's right beside us, my son, as we do this show. So it's really interesting how generation to generation the code changes, and how, like, to each their own. But at some point, Clint, you got to stand up for yourself. And on the other side is the rules makers who have to officiate. I just think it's a case-by-case basis.
I can give that to you. Obviously, they both wanted to go, Reitzel and Thing. But where you get into problems is like we talked about with the Dysons, where, you get, Connor's coming in as a rookie at 16. You get an 85-pound guy like Greg Bellier or his size, or, someone like Colton Evernham, who Connor pisses off on the racetrack. And before you can get there and break it up, he's dragged him out and he's feeding him the shots. Your tone's going to take a different tone when it comes to being, whether fighting's okay. And I realize you're saying case by case basis, but you can't govern anything and be, how can I put it, judgmental and a judgment by judgment case. You try to be, but black and white is a lot safer from the rules maker side of things. So you punch somebody in the face, you got to sit out, or you got to deal, because for every fight that they both want to go, like we think we saw there. I mean, I will take it back further and say Aaron Reitzel probably didn't want to fight. If you look at the beginning of that first one, now if you see the first video that we saw, which was the second one we showed today, where they're on one angle, they're already in the middle of the fight. It looks like they both want to go. But you look how Wayne Johnson basically drives up, cuts him off, throws a poke at him when he's on his bike. Reitzel had to make a move there. I don't think they both walked up or got in there. So Wayne pulls up beside him and punches him in the head when he's riding his bike. I don't think Aaron really wanted, right? And at that point, Reitzel is, like you said, in the car, I'm either going to be his bitch for the rest of my life, or I'm going to stand up and take him on. Even if I do get my ass kicked, it's I don't think they wanted that,
Aaron Reitzel is very vocal. So, and we've all experienced this: run your mouth, run your mouth, run your mouth. There are times when there's repercussions, right? So
absolutely. Out of the two of us, who's more likely to throw their fists?
Oh, you 100%.
That's what I mean. So I'm not against taking a poke when you need it, or getting a punch in the mouth if you need it, if you've run your mouth enough. I'm not totally against it, but when I look at it from the Oshweekon governing side, it's tough, man. And you don't want.
Yeah. Oh no, and I understand.
We're trying to bring in new corporations in live TV, and it brings excitement.
Stop.
Drew a lot.
Stop.
It's not good.
When you talk business, I'm not listening. I don't care. Enough. Racing is a passion sport, right? Like, to you, it's a business because you're the general manager of a racetrack. Racing is a sport of passion where people give so much of themselves to do it, and there is a code among racers. And that code isn't necessarily shared among racers. My code can be different than your code. But that's my point, that it's so different for everybody. And interestingly enough, Clinton, I don't, in that sense, I wouldn't approach a fight expecting to win. But I know sometimes I'm going to have to.
I would put it to you this way. Even as a manager, there's a few guys out there on the roster that I think need to get a punch in the mouth a few nights. And not that I want them to go do it, but hey, if they took one, they needed it. And some guys, there's a few guys in every pit who need it. I could make a list real quick.
That's why.
I hang around with.
But that's why I believe you can't put a black and white rule in the rule book saying you will be suspended for X amount of time. The dirt car rules, I pulled them up. I really like the way their rules are worded. You may be subject to a fine, to exclusion from the event, to this. The list of penalties may be wrong, and I think may be long, but there are times, and like I say, get it out on the racetrack, go to the pits. When things escalate in the pits, that is almost always wrong. Like, I can't think of a case, but I still wouldn't want to put it in black and white, but I can't think of a case where crews getting into a fight is a good thing. But I think there are times. And I understand if you can't relate. I understand if someone is listening thinking that guy's just an idiot. And I've never enjoyed people saying, well, if you haven't done it, you don't understand. But if you haven't been dirty,
if you fight, you get a season ban. And you don't think that's right.
No. No. Not at all. If you the thing
But
is, what do you
I'll
do?
take it a
So
different way. It has to be case by case basis. So if I walk to you and you walk to me and we're in the middle of the pit area, similar like that, and we want to throw down, which we've seen it happen, they throw down, they both walk away. Do you kick them both out for the night? I think I'm with you on the fact if the crews don't get involved and they both wanted to go and you talk to both sides and said, yeah, I wanted to fight him and he wanted to fight me and we got in a couple shots and now we're going to go, maybe you do let it go. But if it's a situation like I said where you got somebody jumping out, dragging somebody else out of their car, feeding them shots, it's a whole different problem at that point. And that may be a season ban if you've got a wild man in the pits who can't control what's going on, and we've had to fight. We've had to throw out a few people.
Name me a passionate sport where there is no fighting.
Well, it depends. I mean, where it's allowed or where it's not allowed.
Oh, it's not allowed anywhere. There's rules everywhere
It's
on
allowed
fighting.
in hockey.
Hmm?
It's allowed in hockey.
You have fights in hockey, tempers flare, and if you want it to get to that point, and there's a lot of honor in hockey fighting. People play baseball, and I don't like baseball fights because the bench is clear. I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'd rather two people just duke it out, but it happens. So all these other sports, fighting does happen. It's a part of the sport, and there are repercussions, but rarely do you hear someone say, oh, they should be gone for a year. Racing, you're putting your life on the line. And like I say, I would much rather than someone use their race car to do it, deal with it on a physical level. I mean, there's times where it's nice to have this conversation sitting on our couch or watching a stream somewhere. In the heat of the moment is a completely different scenario. And how do you teach your kids to not stick up for themselves? So someone comes and wants to go and you think, well, I think I'm in the right. You gonna turn around and walk away, or are you gonna stand up? It's tough.
It can be hard. That's definitely true. I think there's a lot of ways you got to govern it. You certainly don't want to have any violence anywhere, but sometimes it happens. Some good comments came in tonight. We appreciate everybody for talking along with us. So many ways it could go.
I'm not saying I'm right, but I am saying that to make it black and white is wrong.
I'll give you that.
And one of these weeks, I'll start a list and tell you when I think it'll be acceptable for Connor to stick up for himself. Because I've had those moments in racing, and people I've done that with have become great friends. I can remember being at the scales at Niagara Falls after racing indoors, and trust me, if you get hit racing in Niagara Falls on the concrete, you think you're about to die if things go a little bit bad. So right away, your adrenaline goes to 1,000,000. And I stood nose to nose with someone that would have dropped me flat on my ass. But I had something to say. It needed to be said. No punches were thrown. I wouldn't have cared if they were thrown, Clint. But, you stand up for yourself at that point because that's what you feel is necessary. Because if it had happened again and you don't do anything the first time, well, expect it to happen again.
Look at Spencer going back to the archives and pulling out the last summer Bowman and Todd Gordon. It's funny, he read my mind because I was going to go there as my final thought. Back to what you said, they both agreed they were in the wrong. They're both friends. They both agreed they lost their temper, but one is still facing a $1,000 fine. And if Bowman was okay for Gordon to come back and says, hey, I shouldn't have taken this run at him. It wasn't his fault. Obviously, if you know Todd Gordon, he's going to take this shot back at him. So in the end, one is still facing the penalty of a $1,000 fine that he can't race unless he pays. And the other one's back racing. And Mike's saying, let him off. We made up. Why is he still got to pay it? So it brings up the discussion. There's so many ways that you can govern it. Pretty wild. Another extended show, Adam. It's there were a few weeks there where we were trying to pull out an hour. Now we're trying to get off in an hour. So it's been good.
It has been good. And folks, if you ever have a beef to settle and you're not able to do it at the racetrack the way you want, message us, call us.
Well, are you going to settle up a fight?
Yeah, we'll put them on the air. Say your piece.
Oh,
right?
you mean
That's the try. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we won't have any bare knuckle action on film. But come on the show if you got to say your piece, and that's how you feel that you want to settle things. Do it. But I do caution people that it's tough to say automatically this is what should go wrong. Like if Junior Hanley had gotten pissed off at Don Biederman one night and punched him, you're going to send him home for the rest of the year? You're going to tie both your hands behind your back when it comes to selling tickets? Come on, guys, get with the program. Get off your moral high ground.
you used to be moral high ground. Now you're just a bum.
Yeah, pretty much. It's fun hanging out in my gutter.
All right. We'll let you go. Thanks, Spencer, for everything you do for us. Good production values tonight. We appreciate it. Good guests. Good to see it. Don't forget APTN show coming up this Friday night. An hour of it. Back-to-back shows. It is very good. Make sure you check it out. It's going to get you excited about the racing season. And even if you're not an Arch Weekend fan, it just gives you that inside pull and drags you in. So thanks, everybody, for being with us. And we'll talk
And one
again.
more.
Go ahead.
I've got to give a shout out, Clinton, to Dirt Vision. I'm in the living room tonight because the Super Dirt Car Series is racing at Bridgeport in New Jersey. This stream is the crispest, clearest. They've had some sound issues tonight, but the definition on the screen, they are really presenting this sport the way it should be presented. So shout out to the folks at Dirt Vision. Clinton, you and I have had this chat a little bit. I pay for this streaming because I like to see how other people do it and take ideas that I think we can tweak and work into our show. But they're doing a bang-up job here tonight. It looks fantastic.
Our number one promo guy, Wesley Shaw, says he's got to go because the race is starting. But he did throw out one last parting shot. The pill draw sucks. You want to have that talk, don't you? We'll put that in next week.
We'll have. I think it's run its course. I prefer how the Outlaw Sprint cars do it. That's my opinion. Man, even pit road is lit up. Oh, Clinton, you got to watch this.
You're saying
it's a great.
Add an extra dash instead of the draw.
Yeah, this looks almost as good as a GeForce TV stream.
See, you just redeemed yourself with Spencer, and when you look at that made me lose my total train of thought there.
Okay, get it back. Think about it, because I've got one more thought to give. Kudos to Bridgeport for running a race on a Tuesday night and only having 2 divisions. They ran the Speedsters. Great job. The feature is 5 laps in and it's 9:20.
I was going to say, people say it will add much more time to put that dash on. I say, as the announcer who had to go down there and do that draw, by the time all these guys saunter up to the draw, we could have had these cars out, do 6 laps, be gone. There's nothing more boring in a broadcast than a redraw. And how many times in GeForce last summer they say, hey, do you want to do a redraw? And we're like, well, you guys do a redraw, but we do not need to show it. Just get it done. Let's go racing. Let's get it on. The Bridgeport big blocks are about to take the green. We'll let you go. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks, Spencer. Thanks to all our guests. Let us know who you want to have on the program, and we'll reach out to them and bring them on. Thanks so much. We'll see you again next week. Talk to you tomorrow, Adam.